All right, it's go time. Good morning. I'm Paulette Maluski with Kirkwood Corporate Training, and I'd like to welcome you to part 2 in our 3-part webinar series on apprenticeships. If you missed the first one last week, no worries. This one's standalone and you can just pick up where we're at. However, if you'd like to see part 1, we did record it and you can find it out on our YouTube channel if you search Kirkwood Corporate Training. And I would like you to know that the third one is June 2nd, also on a Tuesday at 9 a.m. Today's focus is how does Kirkwood support your business or organization in running a webinar, or not a webinar, that's today. How about an apprenticeship? And then part 3 is what steps you need to take as an employer to get started. So today is all about how we help you in that process. And if you're interested in part 3, it will be on the last slide of today's presentation, how you register. You can always contact us as well. And then we'll send you a recording from today if you want to share it with your colleagues. Your presenter today is Becky Weininger. She is also with Kirkwood Corporate Training, and she is our project manager of workforce initiatives. She's got a great story to tell because she's been helping several local companies incorporate apprenticeships as a solution for succession planning. And today's session will be interactive. We're going to utilize the Zoom chat feature for questions. Welcome, Becky.
Thank you, Paulette. All right, well, I just thought I would briefly touch on what our agenda looks like today. I am going to do a brief recap of what we talked about last time. Just kind of going over the technical items that make up an apprenticeship. Then we'll move forward into the 2 different roles that Kirkwood plays with the registered apprenticeships. And we will discuss developing an effective RTI plan and selecting an apprentice. As questions come to you, just add them to the chat box as Paulette mentioned earlier. All right, so about the 5 parts of a registered apprenticeship. If you didn't see our first in the series, it is recorded and on the YouTube channel, and it's listed in our Zoom chat box as well. A registered apprenticeship means that the Department of Labor has reviewed and approved standards created. The most important piece is the business, because without an employer, the apprentice is merely a student. Then the business appoints one of their experienced workers to be a mentor. This person shows them the ropes and is available for guidance and questions. And it's really that on-the-job training that makes up an average of 2,000 hours a year. Then it's on to that structured learning time. And of course, Kirkwood can serve as your related training and instruction provider. The 4th element is that there should be milestones for growth in wages as they complete their apprenticeship. And then finally, the Department of Labor provides that national certification after all the reporting is completed. So now that we've covered all that, it's important to understand that there are different sponsorship of the apprenticeship. So Kirkwood can play a couple of different roles in a registered apprenticeship, and neither role exists in the absence of an employer. So the role that we will first discuss is where Kirkwood is really active, and that is the intermediary sponsor. So if you go to our government's website, which is theapprenticeship.gov, there is a wealth of information for anyone who wants to learn additional information about apprenticeships. The technical description of it is that an intermediary sponsor provides industry-specific expertise to support employers in a particular sector. The intermediary sponsor will coordinate partner responsibilities, provide program administration to increase demand for apprentices. And particularly, this is an option that's really good for small and medium-sized employers that maybe do not have the capacity to operate a program on their own. Very technical. This particular image really, I feel like, shows that when the sponsor is the educator, those employers all band together and fall under them for the apprenticeship. So we're invested in 7 counties, and we're in a unique position to bring opportunities for businesses, both large and small, to come together to overcome those challenges that are impacting their industry. We also connect students and businesses. At Kirkwood, we want to ensure that we provide quality training and education for current and your future workers so that they gain the skills needed for employers. Apprenticeships create that direct feedback on the needs of area employers and the industries, ensuring that we are providing that quality training. When Kirkwood serves as an intermediary, it allows for others in the industry to utilize the same training for similar occupations. This develops a better pool of skilled workers industry-wide. The more businesses that join the apprenticeship allow for more flexibility in scheduling classes. And once a program is established, it is ready to go and available on demand when you need it. Trade associations and unions utilize the intermediary format as well. For Kirkwood, our industry sector boards have initiated apprenticeships, and so have single businesses. So Kirkwood has standards that are approved. Our first standards were approved in 2018. These standards had the first occupation of building maintenance repairer, and we refer to it as our construction technologist apprenticeship. We have since added construction laborer and certified nursing assistant as occupations for our standards. We currently are in the process of adding electromechanical technician. Each occupation has its own on-the-job training and related training plans. It goes through several sets of eyes to ensure that we have upheld the integrity of the approved occupation's established standards. I recently went through the quickest turnaround in developing a plan. It took about 2 weeks. The company was very well researched and prepared when we initially met. And I've also worked with companies that it's been taken several months just to narrow down to where we want to go with the apprenticeship that they're looking into. So I've seen it go a lot of different ways. What's really important to keep in mind is that even when you join a joint group, we understand that no two companies are alike. Each company gets to customize their on-the-job training and the related training plans. The skill sheet that each employer signs can also be adjusted. The general rule is 20% that can be removed, added, or changed. This truly allows for the unique skills and training areas to be included for each company. Those changes are kept confidential with the exception of the skill sheets, which go to the Department of Labor, but we do not share them with other employers. Kirkwood provides additional support when we serve as an intermediary. We actively recruit and promote the apprenticeships. We'll talk about recruitment in more detail in just a little bit. We communicate regularly with the businesses, faculty, apprentices, and I will talk more in detail on that as well. Administrative work includes with related training and development, skills sheets, apprentice registrations, scheduling of RTI, and keeping that feedback loop open. Our grant dollars that can help with programs is something we're seeking. We also have utilized some of those grant dollars already with providing tools for different programs, tuition help, mileage assistance for apprentices. We manage the paperwork for each apprentice and the businesses. We support both apprentices and the businesses through a group of people, including myself, Kirkwood instructors. A lot of times we have program managers and student advisors or pathway navigators. Everyone here at Kirkwood is truly focused on the success of your apprentice and in turn, your business's success. Adult training can be challenging for anyone. One of the great benefits working with Kirkwood is that we provide a 4-hour mentor training for new mentors. It's complimentary because we know it's a skill that takes development. We have this training program scheduled 4 times a year to try and accommodate all the program start dates. Some of the things they learn include how to identify the apprentice's preferences and receiving feedback, and how and when to provide quality feedback. I'm sure everybody can relate that that is a skill that you have to work on when you are in a mentorship role. When I'm communicating with both businesses and apprentices, some of the different communications that I'll do is I have a regular check-in to see how the apprentice is doing with balancing work and class. We do a regular call every so often to businesses that says, how's your apprentice doing? How is the apprenticeship going? We request information about, what are you hearing about the curriculum? We want to know, how are we doing for you? For on-the-job training, we're also going to ask that we receive documentation filled out of how many hours were worked by the individual. We'll have emails with information on changes that impact business. I got a lot of experience doing this in the last few months, unfortunately, with weather cancellations, or in the event of the COVID-19, we did move one group from in-person class to online learning. And of course, we also had a group of apprentices that were put on hold because their class required labs in order to be certified. We follow up on any grade concerns should something arise as well. As the intermediary, we create the related training plan. So I'll actually go into more detail on that in just a little bit. We ask of our businesses that they invest in the education of the apprentice. We ask the business to employ the student full-time, provide time off for those apprenticeship classes, and to pay wages if class time is during work hours. If we provide the apprentice's application, then we ask that the apprentice is sent through our program. And we also request that we try to, as hard as possible, to stick to that time frame. If it's a 3-year program, we want to keep it as a 3-year program. So I've covered a lot about intermediary sponsorship, and I'm going to actually switch gears a little bit and talk about related training and instruction provider. Again, first we'll go into the business reasons for owning sponsorship. There are many reasons why a business would want to own their own sponsorship. They may want to keep competitors out of the program. They may have some need to control all the aspects of the apprenticeship, like skills, related training providers, reporting controls. This sponsorship allows you to have all of that. You can be as specific as you want in your standards program, allowing you that ability. It gives some tax incentives or grant opportunities. And sometimes there may be enough employees that can manage all the details, or someone may already be experienced with apprenticeship. So those are some of the business reasons that you may want to do your own apprenticeship. What that means is that you've identified your occupation, because you'll need to know what the occupation approved for the sponsorship is. You've decided to go on your own, and you want to manage everything. If this is the route you choose to go, I have 2 contacts that are excellent in helping to develop those standards. I highly recommend Cape Pine at Iowa Works. And we also have the Department of Labor rep, Jim Whiteman, who is available for technical questions. And of course, please reach out to me if you need their contact information. Then we at Kirkwood are still able to provide help as a related training provider. In all honesty, a business can also use an in-house trainer with a formal program, industry-related sources, online, and other options. Kirkwood hopes that you would choose us, and that is why I'm designated to help companies that want to utilize our training for apprenticeships. So let's talk a little bit more about developing that RTI plan. First, we need to identify what is needed. We will review core competencies and the primary skills needed. We will look at how many years or hours of RTI is necessary to meet your standards. We will look at options. We'll explain the degree programs, the diplomas or certificate programs, and we can identify non-credit options if needed. We look at classes that already exist. We review what is missing from the existing classes and identify what is needed from instructors to accomplish the results. Scheduling someone to miss work is critical when you're doing your business planning. We understand that, so we navigate through the options to discuss what will best achieve your needs. If you're seasonal, we want to know, are you slow in the winter, busy in the summer, or vice versa? We want to know if your Mondays are slammed and you can't imagine not having full staff at that time. Delivery format is important too. Does it need to be in class or online or hands-on learning? There's a lot of things that we look at as we're developing this plan. With Kirkwood, you have the amazing opportunity to utilize many different locations. We have main campus, regional centers. We can even send instructors to your location. Maybe sometimes online is the best option. If a certain lab is needed, we can work with your business on that as well. We discuss location and scheduling impacts for specific instructors. We talk about software or hardware needs. And of course, we will provide the documentation required to report those training hours. So question, what is the average age of an apprentice? Okay, it looks like I'm seeing some younger ages. We've got 20. It's actually 28. We've got 18, 27, very good. So what is an average pay for an apprentice? Remember, an apprenticeship can last from 1 year all the way up to 6 years. So the average apprenticeship wage, looks like you have a guess of 18, that's a good guess. It looks like it's $15. So might surprise you a little bit. Selecting an apprentice. When a business is looking at how to do an apprenticeship, one of the ways that you could do that is by investing in current employees. It allows you that opportunity to grow the talent you already have. Are you prepared for the retirements ahead, or do you need to upskill some of your current employees? We actually have one company that we work with that identifies their future leadership and then sends them through a program here so that they learn those skills that they need. You can also market the apprenticeship and select your applicants from your marketing efforts. We have one employer that focuses very hard on reaching out to veterans, and they had so many individuals that applied using, reaching out through that group, that they had a whole day's worth of interviews. We also have our own marketing campaign that we participated in that brought in 5 applicants for a rural county that was desperately needed help in their apprenticeship. We ended up getting 5 applications. One was a stay-at-home mother, a career changer, and then we also had a couple of high school students looking for that first step in their career goal. So several different walks of life, all seeing the same opportunity through different means. You could have a student that's hired while they are taking courses at Kirkwood. You could have a brand new employee selected from the program applications provided by Kirkwood. You could list it with Iowa Works. So a lot of different ways to select an apprentice. So I wanted you to know that we do a lot of recruiting effort here at Kirkwood. We ensure that we have current listings on the apprenticeship.gov site, the Iowa Works site, and we also utilize Employ an Eagle. We promote the program on our own apprenticeship site, kirkwood.edu/apprenticeship. Check it out. We have events. I know I just kind of mentioned that we did a marketing campaign in the Benton County area, and we received 5 applications, though the event itself did not get a lot of traction. So the marketing efforts were working. We also work to keep our communications with the high schools and pre-apprenticeship or academy classes here at some of our Kirkwood regional sites, as well as in the high schools. And then we also promote out to our Kirkwood classes. We do emails, letters, social media. Advertising and promoting really works. It is even more effective when I'm able to add employers' names and get that information out there. So we do a lot. We also have co-branded flyers so that you can present to your staff if that's one of the areas that you're looking to promote to. All right. I know that we've covered a lot of information. We wanted to be very courteous to your time. So before I answer questions, I'll give you guys a couple minutes to talk about the questions, but I'll kind of talk about what the next presentation in the series is. So our third presentation isn't next week, it's actually June 2nd, so 2 weeks from today. It'll be at 9 a.m. Our link is right here to register. We're going to identify tools and resources that can help with each piece of the apprenticeship plan. So I will share success stories of how companies have overcome different challenges and risks. We're going to provide strategies for gaining internal support. And we hope that, of course, all of you can make it. Are there any questions so far? So the question is, what if we wanted to incorporate the apprenticeship in areas outside the 7 counties? we are actually going to have an individual meeting to talk a little bit more in detail about that. There are many times that we have been able to help companies that are trying to reach multiple employees across the country. So there are different solutions with that, but that's an individual discussion for each group, because we do have agreements that sometimes make that not possible. So that's why we want to just make sure that we have those discussions and get all the facts. So.
And Becky, when you say, this is Paulette speaking, when you say it's not possible, are there opportunities with our peer, other community colleges and others? So it might not be possible with us, but it is possible through another community college perhaps, or through.
Right. So Paulette, you make a great point. What I meant when I say not possible is if we have an agreement with another community college, we may have the individual talk directly into that particular community college. But a lot of times, like we said, if a company has multiple locations across the country, there are different ways we can work with them. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. I got you out a few minutes early. I was really debating whether to touch on apprenticeships as well. That is a topic that you're interested in. Please reach out to me. I'd be happy to tell you a little bit more about some of the works that we're doing in that area too. But I definitely didn't want to go over anybody's time. So thank you all so much. Paulette, do you have anything that you wanted to add?
Thank you for another informative, impactful webinar, Becky. You put a lot of thoughtful time and consideration into it. We will be sending this recording along with that registration link for the next one to all of you who registered. So feel free to share and view it again. And I put Becky's email in the chat. So if you'd like to reach out with her directly, she does a lot of one-on-one consultations with individuals, both job seekers, apprentices, as well as companies to work through all these details. So she's a great resource and happy to help you out anytime you reach out. Thanks for your participation today.